What's up, everybody? Cinephile Mike is here, and it is day 78 of Award Season Review Season 3. 97 reviews coming at you in 97 days, covering many of the films up for awards recognition this season. Now, as many of the films I'm talking about may still be in theaters, be awaiting their re-release, be awaiting its release, or maybe it finished its run. All of the statistical information I am providing to you, nominations, predictions, wins, box office critical response, all of that information is current to you within 7 days of recording and posting. And as always, these reviews are spoiler free. Also, make sure you check out my website, cinephilemike.com, for lots of great additional award season content, including the Where Can I Watch It spreadsheet 2024 edition, as well as my video shorts predicting all of this year's Oscar wins. So, if you are joining me on posting and screening day, it is another Tuesday. And for this season, that means it's a new theme week. And we are in our 12th theme week. Before we wrap up, we're going to get to the short films. We're going to get to that last batch of flicks that are Oscar nominated. But this week, and I haven't done this is the first time I'm really doing this, but I'm looking at those films that have a feeling by many, including myself in some instances. These were the films that were snubbed. You know, there have been many films that I have already touched on this season that have not received any Oscar love, challengers, hard truths, Maria. But there are some others that I haven't touched on, and that's what this week is dedicated to. So I give you Snub Week. And first up, I'm looking at Warner Brothers' Beetlejuice Beetlejuice, written by Alfred Goff and Miles Millar from a story by these two, along with Seth Grahame-Smith, and directed by Tim Burton. This sequel, 36 years in the making after the first, returns us to the house on the hill in Connecticut. A box office success, Beetlejuice still had the juice, and as of this recording and posting, is the 12th highest grossing film of 2024, reporting a domestic take of $294,100,435 and an international take of $150,800,000 for a worldwide total of $451,900,435. Now, this film was actually in the top 10 up until we got to December, when four other films between November and December came in and kind of pushed it out of the top 10. The ones I'm talking about here are, well, the one I talked about yesterday, Mufasa the Lion King being one of them, and the others being Wicked, Gladiator 2, and Moana 2. But doing more than four times its reported $99 to $100 million budget, a win. Critically, the film is slightly below the original, but still certified fresh with a 75% critical score from 366 reviews and a 79% popcorn meter from over 10,000 audience reviews. Now, award season wise, this film was a potential Oscar and BAFTA nominee, as it was Oscar shortlisted for Best Score and Makeup and Hairstyling, not ignoring the fact that the first film won the Oscar for makeup, and it was BAFTA longlisted for costume design, makeup and hair, score, production design, and special visual effects. But it received none of these nods. It was a contender for the Box Office Achievement Prize at the Golden Globe Awards. It is currently nominated for Best Hair and Makeup. It was nominated for Best Hair and Makeup at the Critics' Choice Awards, and 13 nods for varied categories at the Academy of Science Fiction, Fantasy, and Horror Awards, as well as nods at various festivals and critic circles. But as of this recording, the only win for the film has had was being the 2024 winner at the Venice Film Festival with the Graffetta d'Oro Prize. So, what happened here? Well, we're returning to Winter River, Connecticut. Lydia, played again by Winona Ryder, has made a career for herself as a talk show host for a paranormal show called Ghost House. Currently, she is dating her producer Rory, played by newcomer Justin Theroux, and deals with the fact that she has become estranged from her daughter Astrid, played by newcomer, and by newcomer I mean to this world, Jenna Ortega, after her husband Richard, played by Santiago Cabrera, passed away. When she receives a call from her stepmother Delia, played by the who doesn't love her, Catherine O'Hara, that her father Charles has died, needs to come home for the funeral. With Rory and Astrid, begrudgingly in hand, to Connecticut we go. Astrid, a loner as her mother was, will meet Jeremy, played by Arthur Conti, who will awaken some feelings within her as she struggles to adjust to her new surroundings. And although this relationship, we will learn, has some deadly consequences. Now, this is in the world. Meanwhile, in the underworld, or the netherworld, we see that Beetlejuice, played again by the ever lovable Michael Keaton, now runs a call center and supervises a group of shrunken head employees. We're seeing you there, Bob. And he will now also have to deal with a blast from his past. The recently reconfigured, reconstructed, powerful occultist ghost Dolores Lefebvre, played by Monica Bellucci, who has come back from the dead to get her revenge on Beetlejuice. Through a series of events, we will see that things are not going well up on the surface or down below, and when Astrid ends up in danger, well, Lydia will have to summon Beetlejuice back to the surface to help her. Of course, what does he want in return? Marriage! Just like in the first, but also now, this will save him from Dolores, who is sucking the souls of every dead person who gets in her way. All will come to a massive climax where we end up, familiar territory to the first film, at a wedding where a dance and a trick will ultimately lead to having life-changing and in some cases death-changing consequences for all involved. Now, that is the basic plot, and there are several other supporting plots that I don't get into. See, here's the thing. I am glad that this film escaped, Razzie nods. And, there was a time when I saw this film, I thought, ooh, is this going to be a Razzie somewhere? I hope not. I'm glad it wasn't. But the problem with this film is, I guess, for lack of a better term, this is going to sound cheesy, but it had too much juice. Like, we had plots enough for Beetlejuice Beetlejuice. We had enough subplots for Beetlejuice Beetlejuice Beetlejuice. And probably even Beetlejuice to the fourth. Goff and Miller, they tried to do way too much here. I mean, there are so many side characters and subplots that none really get the worthy attention that they deserve. The film would have been well served enough if they had focused on, one main plot, which in this case was Charles's death, which would, cause the return to Connecticut, Astrid's new relationship, and, Lydia getting back in touch with Beetlejuice. Like, that's good enough. But we have this whole plot with Dolores, which, after an amazing scene, the film sets up one thing you think you're following, but then goes in a very different direction, and characters get sidelined and elements get shoehorned in. And then there's another, and it's a complicated and a good plot where this film had a missed opportunity to really look at grieving, something that the first film kind of hinted at, but could have more deeply explored here. Giving a chance for Lydia and Delia to address the loss of the father. And I have to say, though, here's the thing. While there were too many plots, at least the through line of what could have been was there. See, this is not like a Megalopolis, right? Where it was like overstuffed and underdeveloped. This one was just overstuffed and not enough time. Things were developed and you could have seen where they went. So there was nothing confusing. And I have to say, despite those bloated plots, there was still some joy in this, right? I mean, all of the performances were great. I loved every character that was here. The returning vets were a delight. The new additions like DeRoe and Ortega and Bellucci. And, I forgot to even reference him in my summary. Willem Dafoe is quite delightful as a netherworld detective. Now, as for the film's snub-worthiness, here's what I'll say. I think it's a shame that the film wasn't even shortlisted for the visual effects, though BAFTAs, nice for including it on your long list, although I don't know why it didn't get that nod. Look, you could clearly tell that the film relied more on practical visual effects than computer effects. And this is a testament to star Michael Keaton, who I believe said one caveat for him returning to the film was that they wanted to rely on, practical and real effects to make it feel normal, make it feel like the first one. And they accomplished that well. That's what I enjoyed the most about the film, save the bloated script, were the effects. They were great, but I guess this was too tough of a year for this film to really go further in the conversation. So, despite all the makeup and hair, I mean, yes, that could have been a short list too, but I think we have other films that were a little stronger than Beetlejuice, but not for the visuals. Because again, why does everything have to be computer animated? Go back to the earlier days. So look, for the visuals and the nostalgia, Beetlejuice Beetlejuice, for me, just a 2-star film. I went in really wanting to like it a lot more, but that's just where it is. Now, if you would like to watch this film, if you haven't seen it yet, you can find it currently streaming on Max. All right. 78 down, 19 to go. As always, if you like what you heard here, please click that subscribe button, like, and share the video. You can follow me, Cinephile Mike, on all social media platforms and on Letterboxd. Again, find lots of great award season content on my website, cinephilemike.com. All right, see everyone tomorrow as we continue with Snub Week, but until then, this is Cinephile Mike saying take a break and watch something new.